Let's talk about what happened yesterday afternoon. The U.S. military striking yet another suspected boat in the eastern Pacific.
And as the military ratchets up its naval blockade of Venezuela, the president unveils plans for a new Golden Fleet of Trump-class battleships.
Madeleine Rivera joins us now from Washington. She's got the latest. What you got, Maddie?
Good morning. So U.S. Southern Command says one man was killed in that strike on Monday. It is now the 29th strike of Operation Southern Spear, and it comes as the U.S. interdicts oil tankers off the coast of Venezuela. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says the seizures are meant to send a message to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro that he needs to leave. The moves have drawn foreign criticism, with Russia pledging full support for Maduro's government and China accusing the U.S. of violating the law. But the president is not backing down, giving Maduro this warning.
What's your end game?
There's no answer. He can do whatever he wants. I mean, we have a massive armada formed, the biggest we've ever had, and by far the biggest we've ever had in South America. He can do whatever he wants. It's all right. Whatever he wants to do. If he wants to do something, if he plays tough, it'll be the last time he's ever able to play tough.
Regarding that armada the president mentioned, he says the Navy will begin building 2 new battleships. And this may just be the starting point, because the president is envisioning a whole new class of these vessels.
We're calling it the Golden Fleet that we're building for the United States Navy. As you know, we're desperately in need of ships. Our ships are, some of them have gotten old and tired and obsolete. These are the best in the world. They'll be the fastest, the biggest, and by far 100 times more powerful than any battleship ever built.
There is bipartisan interest to grow the Navy, but the shipbuilding industry has been beset with challenges leading to delays. The president now promising consequences for companies that he says are not doing a good job. Ryan, Joey, and Lisa.
Yeah, we got to see how fast we can build them. Thanks so much, Maddie.
Thanks,
That's
Maddie.
a good question. The president goes, I want it done within, I'm not going to wait 10 years. Okay. So how quick are we going to get it done? We've got to get 2 done quickly, and then he says we're going to follow up really rapidly.
You know, I guarded a nuclear submarine in Hawaii back a long time ago, more than 20 years ago. And they take they come in, they put it in a dry dock, they cut the top off of it, they take it off, and they change out the nuclear fuel rods. And they come in and they explain, even just lowly Marines, they explain why they do it. And they say, listen, we're putting in fuel rods now that'll last 3 times longer, can never be used as weapons grade. The technology idea was to recycle old weapons grade into these submarines. And the reason why I say that is it took them, they thought it would take a month, it took 6 months. So you think it's going to take 3 years to build a sub, and it takes 6 years, 10 years, 16 years. It's a really ambitious goal to do anything like this, because the first thing you do is you put a bid out and tell these companies, these are the things I want this sub to be able to do. And then we, the taxpayer, pay for R&D for years for them to come up with the design. Then we pay for them to build it. So it's really hard to expedite this process the way it's done now. Maybe WARSEC has some ideas, though.
Although I have visions in my head of President Trump at the Fed headquarters with Powell getting on his case about, you know, the building not building on time, and also it being more expensive. But look, this is part of President Trump's broader strategy with deterrence. You know, this is a guy who is trying to signal to the rest of the world that we're a new country under him, that, you know, peace through strength is back. Also, just to go through some of these numbers, just to the folks at home. So looking at the U.S. Navy versus China's Navy, if you look at aircraft carriers, 11 U.S. carriers, 3 Chinese carriers, amphibious warfare ships, 31 U.S. ships, 8 Chinese ships. And then when you get to the submarines, 78 U.S. submarines, 58 Chinese submarines, cruisers, destroyers, and others, 160 U.S. boats, 171 Chinese boats. Brian, when you see those numbers, what stands out to you?
A couple of things. China's got 395 ships. They build them a lot quicker and faster. I don't think they're better. And we saw that video from last year of the ship going in the water and going right to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
But we have 295 and going down. So we have more subs for now. So we have to, you know, with the new Trump-class ship, they said there's going to be hypersonics on there. There's going to be laser defense. So we'll see how that gets going. The one thing I hope for is I heard Japan and South Korea were going to revitalize our shipyards. How's that going? Because we really haven't done much since the 80s, so we have to pick up the pace. And if Japan can come in with their technology, let Americans build them. I also hear that we're short of craftsmen to actually do this.
That's a big part. That's a big problem across our country. There There's architecture from the 60s and 70s we can't go back and fix because the people that did it don't know how to do it. Just put that into engineering, the dies it takes to create some of the parts. The Virginia-class submarine is by far the most impressive submarine in the globe. It far outperforms anything that China's made. So it's not just the amount of submarines, it's the capabilities of the submarines.
But what were you talking about last night?
Well,
the underwater drones.
The next thing that's really going to matter, and it's already mattering, especially in the Pacific, the entire Marine Corps has revitalized itself. There's a plan in place called Marine Force 2030. That means by 2030, the Marine Corps will look completely different. Ironically, it'll look like it did before Vietnam during World War II, where we could go to these islands in the Pacific, defend them, take them, be strategic, nimble, small. Part of that are underwater drones. That is the biggest technology we're focused on, at least on the Marine Corps Navy side. All this talk about drones in the air and what's happening in Ukraine, that same technology is really on hyperspeed underwater.
But Joey, real quick, when we went through those numbers, obviously that was just the volume of ships. But when you get to modernization, how do we stack up with the rest of the world?
Well, the biggest problem we have is our acquisition process. The ideas are there. We saw this in nuclear technology. The defense industry and DOE held nuclear capabilities away from mom and pop shops that wanted to develop reactors that were lower yield or higher yield, lower energy input, things like that. So what we have to do is we have to get better at using our secret weapon, which is public commerce, which is our capitalist society, our system of going out, coming up with good ideas and bringing that to the government rather than keeping it held up there in northern